All right, I'd love to paint this picture for you that relationships are always perfect and we never have to have difficult conversations, but we live in the real world and we know that's not true. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips that will help you when you do have to have difficult conversations with your partner. Stay tuned to the 3rd one because I think it's a controversial one and it's one that we're all guilty of. And so the first one is when you need to have a difficult conversation with your partner, always ask permission. What that means is you're asking them, hey, is this a good time to have that difficult conversation about this topic? Or, hey, I've had this thing on my heart for a while and I wonder if now is a good time. Or, hey, I know we've been busy a lot lately, we've been missing each other, but I'd really like to have a conversation about this topic with you. When is a good time? So when you're asking permission, what you're doing is you're recognizing this is a sensitive situation, and when something is sensitive, we want to put extra care around it. And so when you put extra care around it by asking for permission, you're protecting your own heart because you're saying, hey, I want you to be in a place when you're really ready for this so that you can care about what I care about. You're also helping your partner because you're saying, hey, I want to give you a heads up and so you can check to see if you're ready to have this conversation. And that way you both enter the conversation with a heads up. Nobody's caught off guard. You can make sure that you're not hungry, that you're not tired, that you've eaten, that you're not feeling stressed, that it's in a good time. You're in the best frame of mind to set both of you up for the best possible outcome with that conversation. So that first one is ask permission. The second one goes along with it. You probably heard me hint around it just a little bit, and that's to give a preview. So you're going to give them a preview of what you want to talk about. We really want to avoid blindsiding the people that we care about the most. Nobody likes to be blindsided. So think about it. If your partner comes into it feeling like they're getting hit out of nowhere with this difficult conversation, they don't have a preview about what you want to talk to them about, they're going to be on the defensive most likely. So again, you're setting yourself up for the best outcomes possible when you give a preview. It helps them to show up well for your message. It helps you to show up well for the message. Again, it's taking this situation and recognizing it's a sensitive one. Probably in the past we've been reactive about this, or I anticipate there could be some reactivity. So how can we kind of put a buffer around that to give us the best chance of success? If you haven't heard yet, Arena Counseling is holding a marriage mini retreat coming up in just 2 weeks on March 28th. My husband and I will be there. We'll be leading it. We're excited to see you there. So if you'd like some information for signing up, it'll be in the details below. All right, and that third one is please, whatever you do, don't have difficult conversations over texts. It's not the place to do it. You guys probably, I think I've read that it's 80 to 90% of communication is nonverbal. It's not the words we speak. I mean, you can hear as I'm talking right now this sense of urgency in my voice, like, oh, this is so important to me, because I'm using some nonverbal tools in my urgency of voice. It's not just the words I'm speaking. You can see my hand gestures. You can see the eye contact I'm making, the tone of my voice. You know whether I'm upset or I'm excited or I'm sullen. You can tell all those things from, not from my words, but from all the other tools of communication that I'm using right now as I'm speaking with you. And so when you text someone about a difficult topic, you're eliminating all those clues. And guess what the other person has to do? They have to fill them in themselves. So they're going to read into it the best they can. And none of us are good mind readers. They're not going to do a great job to know whether you intended that message in a funny way, whether you were serious, whether it was really heavy, whether you texted it out through tears because you're feeling heartbroken and alone. They have no way of knowing that if you just text them when you need to have a difficult conversations. And I work with couples all the time who do that. They'll say, well, we had this talk and they said this and I said this, and I'll say, well, wait a minute, was this a talk like face to face, or were you texting it? Oh, it was a text. And they'll be like, here, I'll show you. And I think, oh my goodness, you guys, we're married, we're in this committed relationship, we're doing life together. Let's respect the sensitivity of your topics, of your engagement, of your conversations enough to have them in person. So here's the thing, and this is something you'll always hear from me. Relationship growth starts with you. And so even if your partner doesn't commit to it, you can commit to it. If you're in a text conversation and you recognize, this is starting to go south, just say, hey, this really matters to me. How you feel about this really matters to me. And so I'd like to talk about this later on when we get home. Or can we talk about this tomorrow? If they continue on, you don't have to match that reactivity. You can hold yourself steady and be more responsive in the relationship, which is going to help nurture that relationship growth. Also, if they text you out of the blue and say, hey, I just saw that you spent this on this, and what were you thinking, or whatever the text is about, recognize that. You got to slow things down and say, ooh, this looks like they're upset, or this looks like it can be a touchy conversation. Let's do this in person. Sometimes you may not even recognize that it's something reactive to them for them, but as you get going in the conversation, you may pick up on it, and it's time to put on the brakes. Remember that slow is safe. Your heart is worth taking it slow and being careful. Your relationship is worth taking it slow and being careful. And your partner, even at their most reactive times, they're worth it as well. So those are our 3 things. Ask for permission, give a preview, and don't do it over text. And I'm curious, because I know there's a bunch more that could be on this list. I just wanted to give you 3 today. But I'm curious if you think of some others that should be in the top 5 or top 10. Put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Thanks so much.